welcome back to Rich Words Music, where today I am at 42 Gear Street 6, and I have the honour of being joined by Mr. Leigh Fuge again.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
it's becoming a bit of a yearly thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, made you my willing victim for these videos, and I'm happy about that. But today, we're back on the Ibanez train.
We are.
Because as usual at this event, Ibanez have brought a truckload, literally a truckload of guitars with them to showcase. And we've got two great, newish, affordable models to showcase today. Now, these are both models from existing ranges.
Yes.
Yours there is from the AZES, the AZES Essentials lineup.
Yep. It is the AZES ES31.
Yes, exactly. And that's denoted by the fact that we have 3 single coils, and it's a hardtail bridge as well, which is something that I really, really like.
Yes.
And this is from the GIO series. This is the double humbucker equipped GRG121SP in black yellow chameleon finish, which is absolutely...
That's a really cool finish.
Kind of awesome, right? Amazing what Ibanez are doing with these.
I mean, that's the thing though, like
finishes.
this finish is great as well. Like I can't remember exactly what they call this. But it's got a really nice, like sort of subtle glittery flake to it. But if you look at it in certain lights, there's like hints of purple in this as well.
Yep, exactly. I'm just looking. They call it Arctic Ocean Metallic.
Okay, yeah, that's a lovely finish as well. Really nice.
It is really classy. I sort of glossed over it because I have this one here.
You almost like don't get the full impact of it on camera, but like when you actually look at it close up, it's quite a lively looking finish, isn't it?
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Lake Placid Blue, obviously, but with a bit more Arctic metallic bling to it, I guess.
Look at the bird's eye maple on that neck.
That's actually really, really nice.
Like actual bird's eye maple on a, what's this, like a €300 guitar?
These are both 300 or sub 300, in fact. Now, this one here has a roasted maple neck for that price, which is also really, really good, and a matching headstock too, which I think is super cool. But we've got... What we have with these two guitars is something for the traditionalist in the form of that, and something for the more, I guess, modern thinking player or heavy thinking player. And so what we want to do in this video is just showcase a few of the different sound options on offer, go through it, and let you guys decide at the end what you think is best. So that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yes, we are. Where do you want to start?
We'll start with the single coils on the clean because you're plugged in. And rig-wise today, we've got this Blackstar TV10. What can you tell me about this amp?
The TV10A, that is a 10 watt combo. I believe it's class A, and it is a single 12-inch speaker, and it's got like a sort of chimey American voice as well. It's got a drive channel as well if you want to kind of, I suppose it's single channel, but it's kind of got an additional gain stage, I guess you could call it. But yeah, it's a great kind of chimey American sort of voiced amp that goes into some quite, when you push the gain on it, you get some quite nice boutique-y breakup sounds. Great amp. Really nice reverb on it too.
Very nice. And on the floor in front of us, we have a pedal board, very pleasingly provided by Sweetwater, which has a tuner, a fuzz, a drive, and a couple of very interesting modulation and delay pedals in the form of the Artifact by Source Audio and the Earthquaker Devices Death by Audio Time Shadows. So we might get into some of those too if we've got time.
Yeah.
But we'll start with the cleanest of cleans, the AZES ES31. Let's hear some.
Started to push it slightly into overdrive there. That middle pickup's quite punchy.
Yeah.
It went from like a kind of clean to quite snappy that middle pickup.
That's a massive jump, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not even like a height thing.
I mean, I kind of like it, but wow.
Quite a punchy pickup.
Yeah.
Nice. They're quite lively pickups actually, considering the price range.
Yeah. For me, they're sort of like modern and traditional sounding at the same time.
Yeah, they've got the warmth, but they feel like they've got quite a bit of output as well.
Yeah, and they're glassy and bright as well. They will cut through pretty much anything. And one thing that you haven't looked at yet is the alter switch, which I guess we don't have the time to go through all the settings.
That's a video in itself, isn't it? Because there's so many. The alter switch basically adds some different functionality to the 5-way switch and gives you different pickup combinations. Like I think one of the options is like the bridge and the neck on at the same time.
Exactly.
One might even be all three on at the same time. You get those kind of combinations you don't get with the typical 5-way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of them, probably when you're down on the bridge single coil, if you flick up the alter switch, I think it appropriates a humbucker with these two pickups. I will put a little graphic in for you guys so you can see exactly what's going on, and there's a link to the Ibanez site where they show you it. But in terms of cleans, you can cover pretty much anything with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got all the, like you said, the warmth of a kind of a classic single coil. So if you're playing, I don't know, bluesy sort of single note lines. Does that, but then if you want to get funky, you kind of go on some of the in-between ones. And you get that sound.
Yeah, and who doesn't want to get funky?
Exactly. I mean, you could probably even play country on the bridge pickup. I'm not going to try because...
you can.
There's my country lick arsenal there in one go.
Well, that was nice. It was authentic. Yeah. But that sounds great. I mean, if you're someone who's into the kind of S-type, Strat type guitar, this is definitely going to be an option at that sort of price point.
Absolutely.
And at sub 300, what are we looking at in terms of competition? Squier, Classic Vibe is probably going to be even more these days. Squier Affinity, something like that.
The closest then would probably be like a Sire. They've got some guitars in sort of like the 350 price range.
Jet guitars have got things hovering around that sort of price.
I do think though in that price range, I think Ibanez are pretty hard to compete with in terms of like what they offer for that money. They are doing exceptionally well across all price ranges.
I never think they get enough credit for the guitars that they put out, particularly at more affordable prices. I don't know why. Maybe it's something with the Japanese brands, like Yamaha have it as well. Like maybe there's slightly less glamour to them than your Fenders or whatever. But yeah, they are generally very, very fine instruments. I always find like when you try them in shops or whatever, even the cheaper ones, they just seem to be fantastic straight off the rack.
Yeah, I mean, like just from like a gigging musician's perspective, like this doesn't scream budget guitar to me. Like if I was to play this, I would quite happily take this out on the road and play it on stage, and I wouldn't even consider that it, if you handed it to me and I didn't know what it was, for instance, I wouldn't consider that, oh, that must be a €300 guitar or whatever. Yeah. I would just think, oh, that's a good guitar, that's a cool, I'll play that.
Yeah, exactly, irrespective of price. But thinking again back to the price, like if you were taking it out on the road and you were finding it wasn't holding tune the way you wanted it, or you wanted to change the pickups a bit, it's a prime modding platform as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, dare I say, if you were to buy one of these and put some like branded Goto tuners on it and chuck a set of Seymour Duncan single coils in there, how different would it be to one of the sort of AZ models that sits in the sort of £1,400-1,400 range?
That would be a very interesting video to make.
Yeah. I think you'd get pretty close.
I think you would. Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing I want to mention about that guitar, which I talk about in every video, is the fact that a hardtail bridge I think is fantastic on a guitar like this at this price point, because you get that tuning stability that you just don't have from a vibrato bridge.
String through body as well.
String through body, and I think it just makes it easier for a lot of players. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to have the trem on your guitar, then you need to buy one with it. Yeah. And there are other AZES guitars in the range, the 40, for example, that has the vibrato arm. But
it's also available as HSS as well.
Yeah, exactly. HSS with the vibrato bridge. Yeah, that's the 40.
So yeah, if you don't like the single coil bridge pickup, you can also get this with humbucker.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that one. Let's move across and listen to the classic elite humbuckers in the GRG121SP. Why is it buzzing when the tuner is
Don't
on?
know.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? So we've got in-between sounds on this straight away, I noticed. That was, I guess this one split. So you got a little bit of a volume sort of reduction when you go to the more coil split modes on this, but it's actually really cool to have a 5-way switch on a guitar like this and have access to single coil tones, because like you, if I want to get funky as well, then I can, you know. And it just works for, again, so many different genres of music.
I'm not sure exactly what the coil splitting setup is here, but I know one thing Ibanez have typically done in the past is like an inside and outside coil thing.
Yeah.
So like one setting will be like this coil, and one will be this coil and this coil. So you get those two different sort of split sounds there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it gives you so much more versatility with the guitar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns a twin humbucker guitar into something infinitely more, you know, usable really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you can already see that with these two guitars, you can cover pretty much any kind of musical ground, and it starts to become more about which body shape do you prefer? Do you like the 24 frets and the extra deep cutaways on this one? Do you like the blingy, sparkly finish and the double humbucker look? Yeah. Or do you prefer to go a bit more traditional with this? Because to be honest, you can cover almost any tonal bass with both of these guitars.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Let's whack a little bit of gain on and hear a bit of that and see how it goes. Should we start with the humbuckers?
Yep.
Or do you want to play this on clean? Because you're allowed. It's my channel.
Let me have a go on that with some drive.
Yeah, okay. Mixing things up, I like it.
Mix things up.
Oh, this guitar's light.
It's light, isn't it?
Wow.
I mean, this isn't heavy.
That's not heavy either, but
that is light.
This is really light, yeah. That's a real fat sounding guitar.
Yeah. I noticed there's quite a different neck feel as well. Like that actually has a slightly more traditional neck carve, whereas this I can kind of feel that the fretboard's actually wider, like a wider and flatter, which obviously if you're playing like sort of super technical stuff is great because you've got more kind of finger space in it.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas that is your nice sort of tight sort of stratty sort of feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you've got the 22 frets as opposed to the 24 on that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I've got specs here, so I'm just going to tell us what the fingerboard radius is, if I can find
Definitely
it.
Feels flatter. Maybe I'd be surprised if that was.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
I'd be surprised if this wasn't like a 14 or something.
According to the specs, this is a 250mm fingerboard radius.
Okay, what's that in inches?
That can't be right. It can be right. That's about... If 300 would be 12 inches, we're not mathematicians, are we?
So maybe like a 9.5, 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
Exactly, something like that. And the GIO, the GRG121SP, is listed at... It's not listed. They don't say what it is, but it's clearly flatter.
Yeah, it feels flatter.
No, I got it 400.
Oh, wow.
So that's
like
really,
14
really flat.
to 16 inches sort of territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can feel this is way flatter.
Yeah. But they're both very comfy necks, I would say. I love the fact that we've got satin finishes as well. That's something that I always like to have if I can. And one thing that surprised me about the humbuckers on that guitar is the fact that while that guitar looks like it's built for metal and stuff, and I'm sure it can do that, the classic sort of humbucking tones that you just had there were really rather nice.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's like really versatile and you can get some sort of classic sounds out of it, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. Really liked it. wheeling out the airborne riffs, and it works.
Yeah,
for that. I mean, there's
really good.
There's a lot of bite to this, but it sounds really, really nice. Yeah,
you're not getting that sort of super spiky thing you get with some bridge single coils. Like that's actually kind of rounded.
No, exactly. This is all up on full. I'm going to flick this alter switch, and we'll see if we get an appropriation of that humbucker.
Yeah, you can hear it like shaves off the top end quite a bit.
Yeah, so that's some of the, again, elevates this into a territory where it could be playing humbucker type stuff. So that's pretty good as well.
It doesn't sound exactly like a humbucker, but where that's useful is like, to go back to like using it on stage, for instance, if you need a humbucker sound for a song, it doesn't sound exactly like it, but it'll get you there. It'll get you to the song.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm a big fan of in a guitar because it, as a traveling musician, it takes it gives you the ability to take one less thing with you.
Yeah.
So if you need humbuckers for one song and you don't want to take another guitar, that'll get you through it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's try something. It's a bit too much gain for my taste with single coils, but it's got a lot of clarity to it as well. Like, and I like that about it. So middle pickup there for strokesy sort of stuff.
Now you're in the middle pickup.
You're on
the second position.
They both sounded good.
Both sound good.
Point is, very, very versatile. Does
Yeah.
an awful lot, and I'm very, very, very impressed with this. Now, I have tried the 31 before. I loved it before. I still really, really do.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my very top picks when it comes to guitars like this at this sort of a price point.
I agree with you, because when I first played one of those like 3 years ago, whenever it was released, that was my thought then, and that's still very much my thought now.
Yeah. So if you're someone who's out there looking for a guitar at this sort of a price point, well, put these on your shortlist. That's what I would say. Now, if I was to give you one of these guitars after the show and say, go on, you're going to be gigging with this from now on, which one would it be?
That one.
Yeah.
Only because this is a little bit too metal for me. I love RGs, and some of my favourite players play them. Like, I'm a big Paul Gilbert fan. He plays RGs, but for me, they're just a little bit too metal leaning, whereas I like the traditional vibes.
Yeah, but is that really all about the aesthetic as opposed to
the feel of
the feel as well? Yeah, because you do have the flatter board on that one.
Yeah, the flatter board is, I don't want to say a problem, but it's definitely a feel thing. Like, I feel a little bit, less comfortable on a super flat board.
I mean, it's a feel thing and a personal preference, and that's all it is. And I think the real cool thing about these guitars is, in terms of quality, in terms of the tones that you can make, both of them will do a job. And it's like, pick the one that you think looks coolest, and you're going to pick it up and play it.
Yeah.
And that's, what more can you ask for,
But that's just me saying as a traditionalist. But if I was in the market for a really affordable and well-built metal guitar, then I wouldn't hesitate to pick something like this up.
No, me neither. And I was surprised to hear you playing the drivey stuff with the humbuckers there, because it sounded thick and fat, but nice and classic too. I could totally imagine myself playing one of those.
Yeah.
But again, in terms of, I mean, if you know me, you know that this floats my boat in terms of the way it just works for me. As Germans would say, it's eine runde Sache. It just, I don't know why I've spoken German on a video for once, but it just works for me.
What does that mean?
That's why I said it in German, because I don't know the English translation.
Okay.
In German, you say it's round, meaning that it's a complete thing.
Okay,
It all fits together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there you go. So they're both fantastic guitars. check them out. There will be some links below, and again, there will be information about the switching. Please check out Leigh Fuge if you haven't already. But I mean, if you've watched my channel, you should have watched his by now. You should know who he is.
We're starting to become a real double act now.
Yeah, exactly. But drop him a like and a sub if you haven't before. And I want to thank Heading Paulie and everybody else involved with 42 Gear Street, because it's again been a fantastic event, if a tad over humid this year.
Just a bet.
Yeah, exactly. Massive thanks to Krenar in the switching room for producing for us, and all the brands who've supported to make it possible, like Sommer Cables, who we have to mention, Sweetwater for providing the pedals, Ibanez, Black Star, and all of the rest who are listed down there in the description. 42GS6 is the hashtag if you'd like to see more videos from 42 Gear Street from all the fantastic YouTubers who are here. But that's been it for this video. I've been Rich for Rich Words Music, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.